Hi everybody, welcome in, welcome in. We're back for another Jewel Loom School Live today with me, and we have Miss Joan in the background as always helping us out. This week's been kind of a slow week for me, just kind of recouping still from Bead Fest and lots of rest because I think I just about blew my knees out at Bead Fest but so be it, right? So be it. I hope everyone is having a wonderful week. We're almost to Friday, yay. That'll give us some time to get some R&R in. I see Maria's here already. Hi, Maria. Hi, honey. Welcome in. Yeah, so today we're going to be making some fun vampire earrings, just in the spirit of the holiday, just as we did our Jack and Sally bracelets last week. And excuse me, we're going to continue the theme with vampire earrings. Now these earrings are just a basic pair of earrings that pretty much anybody can make. I think what makes it though is not the beads really make it, and the embellishments to make them sort of feel more vampire-y. So Sari silk plays a big part of that. Sari ribbon, some people call it that, but trimming it a certain way, which is what we're going to do, it'll really make it pop. Hi Patty, hi Irene, there's Amber, hi Amber, hi Zach. Everybody's coming in. Everybody's coming in. So has anyone decorated for Halloween or fall yet? That's my question, because I'm going to try to get to my husband this weekend and bribe him into getting my fall stuff down, because I'm ready. And the party is still arriving. Yes, ma'am. We get our party. They'll be here. They'll be here. Yeah, so I'm going to try to bribe him into taking my fall decorations down this weekend so I can decorate, because normally I would start decorating for fall in August, but I'm kind of giving him a little break this year because he usually throws a major cow if I try putting up fall decorations in August. So we're going to go for September this year. Randa, hi Randa, Patty. A fall flower arrangement so far Patty has. That's great. I don't feel so bad. I don't feel bad. But anyway, guys, so I'm going to turn the camera down and we're going to go ahead and get started with our fun Halloween project. Just give the camera a moment to switch around. Hi, Jan. None here yet, Amber says. There we are, guys. Woo. So this week, we are going to do our vampire earrings. As I said, I'm sure you've seen the pictures of them, but this is an example of what we're going to be making. Now, with this set, I did some really unique things to complete this pair of earrings. Like I said, it's a basic fire polish earring in the middle, and we have our beautiful trim on the edges with our size 11s. Just ribbon and ribbon crimp here at the top, and then we tie off the bottom. We'll get to that, and believe me, I'll show you it all. And then I think what really makes it though feel like vampire earrings is the sari silk, and that I cut it real jagged like. This, my friends, was my mother's idea. I had the sari silk on there and I hadn't cut it like this, and she said, you know what you need to do, Trish? And so I got to give my mom Pat credit for that, for sure. And then I just put on a couple bat charms, which I thought were super fun. You can put any kind of charms you want on here, or none. You could do it without as well. So we're going to get started, and I'm going to teach you this ear wire here too, guys, to make a beaded ear wire. So we got a lot to do today, so we're going to get started. So the first thing I'm going to do here, if you bear with me for a moment, is just thread my needle. I like to have this done ahead, but I made a last minute change, so I wanted to make sure and use the right color of wildfire. Almost got it. There we go. So what we're going to do, as always, I'm using my original Jewel Loom, but you could certainly use the Wisdom Warrior for this, or even the baby loom if you wanted to do one earring at a time. So same as always, guys, but we're going to go over because we never know when we're going to have newbies coming in, and we want to make sure they understand everything. So I'm going to take my bar, I'm going to put it into the bottom hole of my loom, this side up where it says Jewel Loom. That's the side you want to come up, to be up. I'm going to take this end here, right here, is the one that's by my belly. Okay, and then this, of course, is the top of the screen. I'm just going to put that into my belly and just give this loom just a flex so I can get my bar in there. Now, my bar doesn't want to easily go in there, so what I'm going to do first is switch my bar around and put that piece in the bottom and then pop this one in the top and see if that makes a difference. All right, don't even joke with me. There we go. We got it. We got it. He was giving me a hard time. So now we are ready to put our warps on. Now I'm just using the size 1 hemp, and we're not going to have another hemp incident. I can tell you that. When I say that, then we're gonna, here we go. Okay, so we're going to use the size 1 hemp. You could use the half, 0.5. That would work fine. I just decided I liked this look. Okay, so as always, we're going to wrap around twice on our button here, and we're going to tie this on nice and solidly. So I'm just feeding that through, and I'm going to give it one pull, and then I'm going to feed it through again and give it another pull. Okay, so that is on there securely. So now what we're going to do, we're going to flip our loom over, and this, of course, is the side we have our hemp tied to. We're going to bring our hemp up over the top here, and we're going to lay it into one of these grooves. Okay, and pulling that across, I'm keeping tension. The whole time I'm warping this loom, I'm keeping tension. Okay, and I'm going to lay that in across that way. Then I'm going to turn my loom slightly, and I'm going to take, keeping pressure on our hemp, grab that button on the back, come up around the top, and we're going to count 4 because we want to have 4 spaces, 2, 3, one more, for our fire polish to fit in here. Okay, so we're going to do 4. We're going to use 3 beads across. So can anybody tell me, just like in school, I guess, how many rows we'll have to do for 3 beads? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And just make sure you're leaving those 4 widths. Oh, mine jumped off. Across in the 4 grooves. 4. Vicky wins. Ding, ding, ding. Yes, we're going to have 4 warps for 3 beads. It's always 1 more warp than beads, than the amount of beads that you have. So if you're doing 4 beads across, you need 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So our second row. And grab our button here again, bring it back up over the top, and do our 4, and then across. Find 4 here. And then we're going to tie it off on the back. I'm just flipping this over, and I'm going to pull this up over, and I have my thumb here holding that tension. Okay. And I'm going to wrap this around twice again, and I'm going to just lay my finger there. This is how I like to do it to make sure I don't lose tension. Excuse me. So we have that there. I'm still holding my thumb on it right there, and I'm just going to slip it underneath my warps like so, and I'm going to bring this up and around and tie it off by sticking it in underneath the strand. Okay. And once you get your first one in, just like when you're first tying it off, you're pretty good to go. You can kind of let up on holding the tension and stuff like that, because it'll lock it in pretty good for you. But then we always want to do a second one just to make sure when we get the tension bar out that it doesn't come off of that button in the back, okay? We don't want nothing flying out, that's for sure. So now that that's tied off and we have 4 spaces in each one of our lanes here, and we have, or 3 spaces, excuse me, in our lanes here, in our warps, and 4 strands. So then we're going to do opposite of what we did putting the bar in. We're going to just push it back into our tummy, and we're going to flex it up out, pull it out. This one is giving me a little fight. They like to show out in the lives, everything does. So there we go. So that is out, and you can see that's pretty good tension. That's a pretty good warp, and that's what you want. That gives you the best look when you are stitching in your beads, okay? So I'm going to lay that bar to the side. Now, you probably saw with these earrings, I use these gorgeous speckled red and black beads. They are simply gorgeous. For this demo, I'm going to show you the basics using just some of these gorgeous burgundy ones. They're super pretty too. Kind of blurry there, but when we go to actually take it off the loom, I do have a set made with these beads, so you'll be able to see the total finished process done on those. So I just threaded my needle here, and you're probably only going to need an arm span and a half for this one, because it's a small project. You know, earrings are smaller projects. So what I usually do for my rule of thumb is wherever see this dot right here, I like to go just above that and tie on the end of my wildfire. Okay, just like so. Okay, just 2 little knots there. And now we're hooked in, we can start. So I'm going to cut one of our strands apart here. So we're going to need it. These are gorgeous too. I can't say that they're not, because they are certainly pretty. I have a little bug bouncing around here. Okay, so what we're going to start out doing, guys, is we're going to put 3 fire polish on. Okay, these are 6 millimeters. And we're going to drop those beads down like we do. And then we're going to feed the needle underneath into the other hand and pull that string through. Support our beads as we're putting them up between those warps. I'm supporting them with 2 fingers underneath, okay? And then we're going to take our needle over top. We're going outside of this last the last row here, okay? And we're going to make sure we're on the outside of that, and then we're going to go over top of that and all of the warps through the beads. So as I'm doing this, and I know I've probably shown you this a million times, but can you see the metal of the needle in between the beads? That's what you want when you're putting your beads on, because if you don't and you miss one and go under it or whatever, it'll pop off. Okay, so I'm just pulling that through gently. I'll move my tools up there. Okay, just straighten that row out. Now that's our first row. You're going to see that these earrings come together. The base of them comes together really quick. Okay, which is kind of fun, because then you can spend a lot of time embellishing them if you want to. I want to get a clear sticky tape measure to put on my looms. Anyone see them anywhere? I have not, Vicki. I don't know how a sticky tape measure would work on an original. It would work fine on the Wisdom Warriors and those. Because of the bend that this gets, I don't know that you'd have an accurate measurement. That's just my thought. But That is a great idea. Definitely is. Okay, and we're just going to do this. We're just going to keep picking up 3. And dropping our beads down. And shuttling our needle across into the other hand. And then we support. Once they're supported, you're going to take your needle up and over the last warp and through your beads on top of all the other hemp. Okay, so as I'm going across, I'm making sure I'm staying on top of this hemp. This little bug and I are going to have a go round here. Getting in my grill. There we go. So there's 3 rows already, and we're only doing 5 per earring. You can see how quickly this works up. Okay. Whoops. I do too, Suzanne. I like quick projects. I like quick projects with big impacts, with a big impact on them, you know. You want it to look like you spent all day on it, not actually spend all day on it, you know. I'm like pulling my fire polish in there, boy. Okay, so now row number 4, and now we're going to grab row number 5. All right. Any questions on the base, guys, before we move on to the loops? I'm sure you probably all have it, but if not, you know, let me know. Okay, so there's our base. Just 5 rows, but these fire polish make a big impact. You only have to do a simple earring with these because these just glitter and glisten. They're just gorgeous beads. They make a big, big statement. So if everybody's good on the base, we're going to go ahead and start the loops. Again, these are just our basic loops. And we're going to do, I keep sliding my board there. We're going to do 5 seed beads in our loops. Again, quite simple, but there's red here. I'm just going to put out some red and some black just for fun. We could do it all black. You could do it in any colors that you like. Whatever makes you happy. And then I'm just going to put out a few black seed beads. Okay. And these are the Tohos, which we love dearly. So those. Okay, so I'm going to pick up 5 11-ohs. And it doesn't matter what pattern you decide to do with this, but I'm just going every other, okay? So we're going to end up with 2 reds and 3 blacks in each one. And you can see I'm coming out here at the top. I don't have to do anything but start right into my loops from there. Yes, it does, definitely. Vicki, it saves time to do both on the loom. I do too when I'm not teaching. That's certainly what I do. Okay, so I just put those beads on and I just dropped down and went into this next row. Okay, you can see where my string's coming out of there. And I'm going to pull that across, and that's going to give us one of our loops. It's probably a little hard to see, but it's there. Okay, so now we're on the other side. So I'm going to pick up 5 beads again. Okay, I have those on. We'll drop them down. And we're going to go back and go through this top row. And we're going across the top of the beads, across the top of the hem. And we're stitching these loops in. Okay, so now you think, okay, so now what do I do? Because this is coming out of the top row of beads again. Well, we're going to have to take our needle back through the second row again and get it shuttled to the other side. Okay. And we're just sending it, the needle across. That's what we're doing. So we can do our loops. So let's do here, we have 5 more. And drop those down. Looks like we only got 1 thumbs up so far, guys. Don't be, make sure you give us some thumbs up and share this out there for us, guys. And back across to the other side, and the same thing. And you're going to go through this process until you get down to the bottom. Okay. Oh, there we go. We got 4 likes. Thank you. That helps us out with the algorithms. Definitely does. Okay, so I got that second loop put on the left side, and it came out that second row again. So we need to drop back down. And when we drop back down, this is going to shuttle our needle back over to the left. Okay. And we'll pull it out on that side. And all of these strings are going to be hidden alongside with the loops. And it'll go tightly against your fire polish, so you won't be able to see the string that we're shuttling back and forth with. So we're going to pick up 5 more. Okay, and then drop into the next row here. Just like so. And again. Okay. I love these red rainbow beads. They're so pretty. These are called Transparent Rainbow Light Cyan Ruby. Aren't they gorgeous? They're almost like an orangey, rainbowy red. I just really like them. Okay, and we dropped our beads down. We're going to go back up to the 3rd row and shuttle our needle across and loop. Go back into that 4th row so we can get in position to do our last set of loops. Is everybody good so far? Pod Paraja color. Yes, you nailed it with that, Vicki. That is right. That's what it is. That's like one of my favorites of all time. Come on. There we go. So we're shuttling across to the right side again. Okay, because you can see where we're at. We're getting ready to put on our last set of loops. Okay. I feel like this is going crooked on me. Thanks, Maria. Thank you so much, honey. Yeah, it's fun. These are fun to make because they're simple, basic, but you get to have fun jazzing them up. Just even as they are, they're beautiful earrings. You know, that would be just gorgeous the way they are because these beads sing. They're gorgeous. So 1 more loop. See, I come out this side, so we're going to pop back up into that 4th row, okay, to make our loop complete, and then we'll tie it off. Okay, 5 more. And I'm going to kind of maneuver this a little bit so I can get back up into that 4th row pretty easily. And I'm just going to put that needle in that first bead and run it across. Okay. You can see how this is loosening here. That's okay because it'll tighten up once I get that next loop in. All right, get you out of there so we don't tie that into it. Okay. So there's your loops. It's just as quick as that comes together. Okay. So now we're basically just going to tie off our threads. This one on the back, or this one I started with, I'm just going to cut it and then I'll glue it later because you can't see that knot anyway because of the loops. I'm fine with that. And then this one that we have the needle on, I'm just going to drop this down the row again, and I'm going to go through one bead and pop my needle up, and I'm going to run my needle down and around that third warp like so, and then bring my needle down and back up through. That little fruit fly and I are going to have problems. I know you guys can't see him, but he's really driving me crazy. He knows when my hands are busy, I can't swat at him. Okay, so I'm just tying this knot, and I'm going to pull till I get a nice tight knot in there. Okay, you can't really see it, but you can see where the string is coming out. Same thing, up and around, back through that loop, and I'm going to bring it up and tie another knot. Now what I do, guys, is I drop my needle back down through between the warps like so, and then I kind of give it a little tug to pull those knots underneath it, and then you can't see anything because you've pulled them in under. And then I'll just turn it over like so and just trim with my cord cutters. All right, so there is that one. So let's get our ones that I have ready to go here and ready to come off of the loom. Here are our vampire earrings with those beautiful variegated beads. Now I'm going to get this pushed up out of the way because we have all our loops done on this one. So basically at this point, guys, we're going to start out by cutting this off the loom. There's a tiny bug around me driving me crazy too. Oh, that's okay, Becky. I don't feel so bad. So I'm going to turn my loom over. I'm going to place my 2 fingers in underneath between my warps and my loom. I'm going to take my thumb and place it against these warps, and I'm just going to start trimming. And the reason I'm holding that is because this has, you know, tension on it, and you don't want it bouncing back like crazy and ruining your piece or hurting you, or, I mean, it's not really that vicious, but, you know, it's just safer that way, and it's safer for the piece that you're creating as well. And this is a pet peeve of mine, so I have to cut it off right now. I apologize. But I like to cut my threads off, so then she's ready to go for my next project. Okay, so now that we have these cut like so, we're going to cut them in half because that's why we left all this string on both ends. Okay, so I'm going to just fold them like so I can see kind of where is the middle, and I'm just going to cut these loops. Okay, so now we have 2 earrings, and then I'm going to go on this end too, and I'm going to cut the loops. So we're ready to start tying. Now, I'm going to use a ribbon crimp. Actually, I need to grab my ribbon crimp. So hang on 1 second. Okay, I'm going to use a ribbon crimp. Now, you can put that selvage edge on right on top of the loom when you're working on it before you cut it off. Definitely. Or you can just put it on after. Okay, so I'm just going to grab a couple ribbon crimps that I know will fit across there pretty well. Because these ones will be pretty too big, I believe, but we'll see. So I just grabbed a couple of those out. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tie some knots here on the ends, just like so. You don't want to pull too hard. But we're just going to tie some knots so we know that this is secure before we even put the ribbon on. Oh no, Nancy, I'm sorry to hear that. I'm glad that you're here though, honey. That catgrass has fruit flies. I hate fruit flies. I don't know if you guys know, this is kind of an aside, but what I do to set a trap for them, and it works wonders, is you just take a little bowl and you put a little bit of apple cider vinegar into it and then a drop of dish soap. And what it does is that attracts them to the apple cider vinegar attracts them to the bowl, but the dish soap changes the surface tension so they can't get back out. So it's a trap. So that's my little advice for you today, or helpful hint, I guess. So I'm just tying these off. And we're going to do that on both ends before we put our finishing touches on it here. Okay. Same thing here. We're just going to tie this off. I hope you can see, guys. It's hard sometimes the way this camera is angled. But when I tie this one on the bottom, guys, I'm going to leave some space so I can make sure and get my sari silk through those loops. So I'm just going to tie it, but tie it more loosely, okay? Just want to make sure I have it where I want it. I'm just working my tie here. What's that going to do here? Just making sure it's centered. You want it to be centered at the bottom, and give some space there for yourself, okay? Have I ever used 4-row connectors with the loops? No, I have not. I don't know what 4-row. Oh, I know what you mean. Those things that are just like the connectors that have the holes. I have not, but that's a wonderful idea. Okay, so what you would do, guys, I won't probably glue these right now as we're working, but you're going to want to glue your knots once you get everything tied. And again, I'm just finishing my last knot here. Okay. Okay. So we have those tied. Now I'm just going to go in and I'm going to snip these bottom ones, and you just leave a little bit of string there. You're not going to see it at all once you get your sari silk on there. I may just put a little touch of glue on those while we're working on the top, just to make sure when I go to put the sari silk in, everything is good to go. All right, if I took that up, guys. Yep, I'm just putting a little drop of glue in the center of that knot. Okay. And we'll let that dry just a little bit while we're working up here. So I want to put a ribbon crimp on this, but you can finish this however you want across the top, up to you. But I just take a piece of ribbon, just as simple as this. And I'm going to take a little bag and lay it down here because I don't want to get super glue on my bead board. So I would just take a little bag or something, a piece of paper or something, and lay it down. And then put your ribbon across. Like I said, this is how I do it. It is easier when you just put it on the loom, but I don't usually have that much forethought. So I'm just going to put some glue on my ribbon, and I'm going to lay my strands down there. Okay. onto that ribbon so it'll glue on. And then as I'm holding them, guys, I'm just going to put some glue across the front. These knots, I'm going to scooch that one up just here, I think, if I can. Super glue dries really fast, as you all know, so be mindful of where you're placing everything. So I'm just going to put that across the top and then bring my ribbon around. Hold it there for a moment or two and not get it stuck to my fingers. And I just sort of, this time, I just sort of make sure that everything's lined up. It's where I want it. And it looks like it is. And then once it's glued, and like I said, that glues together super fast. I just trim the ends and trim the cords, just like so. And you have something that will, your ribbon crimp can bite into, basically. Okay, so let's see, is this the one I want? Yes. So we're just going to take the ribbon crimp. You're going to need a pair of chain nose pliers for this. That's what I use anyway, that I like, that work well with the ribbon crimps. And you're just going to take your ribbon crimp, put them into your pliers like so. Get these strings out of the way so you can see better. And we're just going to center it. Now I'm seeing there's some ribbon sticking out on the bottom, but if you don't like that, and that's why I always use coordinating colors, because I kind of like the way it looks, you could certainly cut the ribbon down so it would fit completely underneath your ribbon crimp. Okay, and I'm just giving that a squeeze in the middle and then going side to side. I'm going to make sure we're straight, and again, just squeezing. And after you get the earrings peeled off your fingers, you can trim it. This is true. Yeah, that's don't laugh. That's happened before. Okay, so I have some Sari ribbon here, guys, and I also have some 0.5 hemp. I have some beads. I have the Halloween mix, I have the black mix, and I have some Jesse James beads that kind of go with it. So, and then we also have our charms, and we need some wire. So on the Sari silk, you're going to want to cut that, you know, put it through your loop like so, and you're going to want to cut it to your desired length. If you don't want them terribly long, that is certainly your prerogative. I think let up just a hair, just like so. We just pushed it through that loop, and we're going to disguise those knots in just a moment, but we're going to trim it off. All right, come on, scissors. There we go. And then we're just going to take some of our 26 gauge wire. This is kind of a fun technique. This is fun to even make tassels. You can do tassels this way as well. Okay. So I'm just going to cut a small length of 26 gauge wire. All right. And I'm just going to take this Sari ribbon at the top and kind of spread it out a little bit, like so. So then we're covering the knot. I'm going to lay my wire down below where that knot is. I'm going to leave myself a little bit of breathing room there. Okay, I'm just going to squish this in. And then I'm going to take and wrap the wire around. We're going to get one good loop around, and we're going to make sure it's nice and snug at that point. Okay, see how I have that. As I come back around, I'm going to loop back around to the front, just right to the side of it. And at that point, I'm going to grab some seed beads. This is optional. If you don't want to put your seed beads on, you just want to wire wrap it, then you are good to go. So I'm just going to grab a couple of these seed beads up here. I know they're off camera, but you will see them in just a moment once I get them on my little wire. And that's why we're using the 26 gauge wire, because our 11s will fit very nicely on there. Okay, so I picked up, let's see, 5. Let's do one more. Let's do 6. All right, so that is coming up to the side of your sari silk. Okay, now we're just going to take that and we're going to wrap those beads, and you're taking your thumb and you're guiding it where you want it. Always make sure you leave your little tail, because this helps you to guide things where you want them on your wire wrapping. And you can see how I'm pushing those beads up and holding them there, and then I'm going to take my wire and bring it around again. Okay, so I'll hold this still so you can kind of see what we did there. I just think it adds a cute little accent. I really like it. So we're just going to make sure both of these wires are on the back. We'll give this one more wrap just to make sure everything's good to go. And we're just going to trim those wires on the back, just like so. Okay. And we'll push those in a little bit. Make sure we don't get anybody with the ends of our wire. Okay. So what you can do, I just have the sari silk here right now, but what we could do is put some of this 0.5 hemp underneath as well and string on some beads. Okay. So if you take a little bit of that, I'll show you that on this side. If you take a little bit of your 0.5 hemp and you put it through that loop, and you're just going to do it the same way that we did the sari silk, but it'll have some of this underneath it. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull where I want it. I'm going to trim it, and then I'm going to put another piece through, just like so. And this is where you can add on your beads, right? So we have that through, and then we're going to take our sari silk. You can see we're getting everything through that loop there. Can you see that? Are those Zoran cutters? These are Zoran cutters, yes. Actually, these both are Zoran cutters. These are flush cutter, wire cutters, and then these are the Zoran cord cutters. Okay, so we're going to take our sari silk and push it through just like we did the other side, but it's going to go in over top of the hemp. Okay, and I'm just going to take my pliers and just give that a little scooch through there. Okay, come on through. Okay, so now we have all 3 of those strands are through there. I'm going to make sure this is evened up on the front a little bit. And again, I'm going to spread my sari silk out because I want to cover up that knot that we made at the bottom of our earrings. And we're just going to do the same thing. We're going to wire wrap it on. So again, we're just going to take our wire, lay it across with a little end on it here. We're going to give it a couple wraps, just like so. I'm making sure I'm getting that one real nice and snug, making sure everything's secure on that first go round. Then I'm going to bring it up and around the side, and we're going to pick up 6 seed beads, just like we did on the other side. Okay. Okay, 3, 4. Yeah, I find that Zoran and Weber's are probably some of my favorites, although I do have some bead-along tools as well. I do like some of their tools too. Got to be fair to everyone. So same thing, we have our beads, we're putting them across the front as an accent, and we're just going to bring a wrap around again. Make sure that's on there snug. And one more time. And then to the back. Okay. So at this point, we're going to cut these wires, tuck them in, And I'm going to show you how to tie on some beads to make these your own. Okay, so I'm going to cut our sari silk because they're not the same length. So I'm going to cut this one just a little bit shorter so we're even. Okay, these scissors are going to have to get sharpened. So what I do, guys, is just as simple as taking some beads or tassels or whatever you like, and you have to make sure that it has a big enough hole, but your hemp will fit through these beads. Okay, just like so. All right, so if you want to tie it onto the end, you can tie it on the end. You want to put it in the middle and then add another little one. Make sure to, you know, have two on there. You certainly can do that. So we're just going to tie a knot or two at the end of it just to hold the beads on. And it's that simple. It just gives you that really nice look of having the beads on there, but also has this red hem that adds to the vampire feel. Okay, so there, we're tying a knot on that, and I'm just going to drop my bead down, and I'm going to make sure my bead's not going to slip over that knot. So it's not, so that's good. It's not, it's not. So there is that one tied on, and then I'll go back and just trim, leave a little bit of string at the bottom of the knot, but just kind of trim that, and that's one set of beads on there. So let's string some more. This boho bead looks gorgeous, doesn't it? Let's try that one on there. Oh yeah, that one's a pretty one. Get the string to go through. Almost there. It might not cooperate. Now, something I did find, guys, if you have trouble getting your hemp through certain beads, you can take, again, a little super glue and just put it on the very tip of it and wait for it to get hard, and it'll be like a little needle for you, basically, to get through beads that maybe aren't so cooperative. But we got that one on. Okay, so again, I'm just going to tie a knot. Yes, I do too, Becky. I love JJB bohos, but you know, JJB mixes are great, but you could certainly use those. But we also have some beautiful Czech mixes from Jewels that would look beautiful as well. But I just thought, let's change it up a little bit for today. Let's try some different stuff out. And I'm just going to check that, and that's going to pop through. So I want to wind it around one more time and make another knot. This one has a larger hole in it, so that's why I'm having to make two knots. So I'm sure yes, I did, Maria. I glued the ribbon across the hemp before attaching the crimp. Yes. I know this string isn't quite as long as I'd like it to be, but you get the idea, guys. Okay. So we have those on. Let's put another. That's barely holding on at this point, but you get the idea. But I mean, let's put on a red one. Let's see if we can get another red one on there for our other strand. But you can go as easy or as crazy as you want to. These are fun and eclectic. Yes. What size what, Amber? What are you asking? What size? The width of the ribbon, you can use any width because you can cut it down to whatever. But this I happen to use is 1/4 inch. This is 1/4 inch. This is, I find the easiest because pretty much if you get the 1/4 inch, you can just fit a ribbon crimp over top of it, okay? But again, I use this on the original pair and just cut this down to what I wanted, and it's 5/8. So we're going to tie our last knot here. And there we go. Okay, so now that we have our beads in place, I'm going to teach you the very, very difficult thing of cutting your sari silk. So basically, you just need a pair of scissors, and you're going to start cutting it into thin strips And I kind of, you know, was like kind of not getting it perfect. That's the idea of this. It's fun to cut it, and kind of, even if I can take my scissors across and make like a jagged point on the end, it makes it look really cool. So I'm just cutting it in thin pieces. And that's the trick that makes it look the way that it does. Okay. Giving out all my tricks. All right, I'm just cutting that. And then again, I'm going to go back and kind of go jagged. Maybe cut that one a little thinner. There's no perfection to this, guys. This is just fun. Okay. And I do find I do have a large pair of scissors now, but the smaller scissors seem to work better to get the thinner pieces and to get the jagged edges and those kind of things. But you know me, I like to make things difficult on myself. So that's the back piece. And again, we can cut that up a little bit more. If we want to go even thinner, we could. But you get the idea. Just cutting it nice, thin, uneven pieces and making little jaggeds on the end. Just angling your scissors and making a little jagged point. And then here's the front piece. We're going to do the same thing. Just go in and trim. Get that last piece up here. Okay, so that gives you the idea, guys. Everybody got that? That's pretty easy. It's a bunch of simple techniques rolled into an earring that makes it super fun. Okay. So now I'm going to show you, you can see the difference that makes between just doing the 2 strands through and then doing the jaggedness. I think it looks super cool. So now I'm going to show you quickly, because I know we're getting short on time here, but I do want to show you how to make your own ear wire. And we do have our bats here that we can attach on as well. What I recommend is using the loop that you put your beads on, and the beads will kind of spread apart a little bit for you. And you're just going to take a jump ring, which I do have here. And just hook right into that wire. And that's going to be a nice stable base for you to hook your jump ring into. It's going to hold well. So you just need to open your jump ring. Of course, I don't have my pliers that I want here. Now, not that I don't have 30 pair, right? And we're just going to put the jump ring through the charm hole there. And we're just going to hook it on. We're going to maneuver it up behind that wrap we made, just like so, in between the beads. And then we're just going to close it. And those don't work very well, but you get the idea. Okay, and we're just going to close our jump ring, and then we have our bat on the front. Okay, guys, so let's make our ear wire, and then we're going to have to say goodnight. You're going to need some 20 gauge German wire. And I just pull off a piece, maybe 12 inches long. It's always more than I need, but, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that and fold it in half and just cut it in half like so. This is the easiest way that I found to make your wires. Where's the best place to buy velvet ribbon? It seems like it's hard to find in my area. Boy, I don't know. My first guess would be like Hobby Lobby. That's the first place I would check. But I'm sure that Etsy would have a nice selection for you as well. So what I'm doing here, guys, is I'm warming these wires, straightening them out with my fingers, getting everything kind of where I want them. And if you've never made ear wires before, this is the perfect place to start. These are your basics. So I'm going to bring these 2 tips down together here. And I'm going to flush cut them evenly at the same time. Okay, so we have that. Then I'm going to take my bell making pliers. These are a bead-along product. And I'm going to take this smallest rod on here, the smallest dial, I guess, whatever you would call that, and just grab the end of the wire so there's no wire sticking through the bell pliers. And we're just going to roll this forward. Now, the reason you make two of them at the same time is because if you don't, mark my words, they will be off. So this is why I do that. So what I did is I switched them around in my hand. I have the loops down in here now, and I want them flat. And I'm going to take this largest bell, and I'm going to put it, grab it between the pliers. I have my loops facing forward, okay? And I'm just going to take those two wires, and I'm grasping this, you know, very well. And I'm just going to roll that wire back over that bell making plier like so. And then you can just take that off. So once you have these made, you can decide how long you want your back to be of your earrings. So before I do that, I'm going to slip on a few beads, which you probably should do before you do a loop, but of course, you know, my brain. You just take some beads that have larger holes, and you're going to want to slip them up over. See, that went on nicely. And onto your bead wire you just made. And you can decorate them just as much as you'd like, or as little. So basically, I'm just going to take a couple beads here, see if this one will fit over the curve. Yep. And we have a decorated ear wire there. Okay. And then what I'm going to do on the back here, guys, I kind of take my fingers, I'll show you this way, and kind of pull it like so, kind of back that way. And then it kind of gives me an idea on what length I want to cut the end of it. So I look here and I think, well, there's the bend, and I want a little bit in front of that because I like the little bend that you can put on the end of your wires. Makes them look really nice. And I'm just going to grab that end, and I'm just going to pop that back just like so. And it looks like you just bought that. You can make these shorter, you can make these longer, it's whatever you like. That's just a basic ear wire. And we're just going to take that and open our loop and hook it onto our vampire earring, just like so. And there is your handmade vampire earring. So that is it for the teaching tonight, guys. Here are our originals that I made. They have a more consistent look to them, I guess, because we didn't get the other side done yet. But yeah, so really cool project, really fun and easy project. They don't take long at all. Let me just flip back up to the top as I look at my mess here. I don't know about anyone else, but I make a huge mess no matter what I'm making. Just seems to always be a huge mess. Hi, I'm back. So any questions, guys? Any thoughts? Any questions? Any concerns that have to do with jewelry? Because I'm no therapist, believe me. But here are our cool earrings. I think they came out really cool. You are very welcome, Maria. You're very welcome. I'm so glad you guys liked those. They were super fun to make. I really enjoy them. And I guess that's it for tonight, guys. We're coming up on 8 o'clock already. So I hope you all have a good weekend. It was so great spending this time with you as always. Thank you so much, guys. Yes, creativity equals messiness. Thank you so much, guys. And we'll see you next week for another fun project on Jewel Loom School Live. Bye, guys.